bing bang wang, bang boom bang, pow, bing bang bang, bang bang bang, bong bong, ching pong, ping pong boom, ping pong bang, boom bang bang.
Welcome, everybody, to the Plumes of Hazard. As always, I'm your host, the Hateful Vapor 2. My left is loving talented food, Baka, who's now full of engine food. And right down there below me is the Master of Blasters, the Void of Warranties, Mass Blast 09.
Wait, full of what food?
Engine food.
Engine
I
food.
I literally just scarfed down a plate before you came in.
Engine food.
Leftovers.
What is that? Gasoline? Engine food?
Sorry. That was my alarm to hurry the hell up. I'm already here. Alarm. Pay attention. Man, it has been a day. I don't know about y'all.
Yeah.
Just nonstop meetings, and at the end of the day, I got a call from one of my executive VP guys on my side, and he's like, "Hey, do you like the client that you're on? You want to do something else?" I'm like, "Okay,
Wow.
sure." He's like, "Well, we got some training coming up. I'm gonna put you on it." Okay, you gotta tell my client though. I'm not telling him. I'm like the third guy they've had in this position for the last 9 months or something like that, because with the volume of work that's been going on. The last guy literally had a nervous breakdown.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great.
Is
I'm not gonna do what everyone thinks I'm gonna do.
Is that why they're pulling you off of it? Because they don't want you to go crazy?
No, I don't
They're
think so.
Fucking Egg's gonna show up in the office like Stone Cold with Diet Coke cans and you'd be like,
Angsty walks in and you hear just drink fucking Diet Cokes.
Yeah, it's not even that, because the guy that called me didn't even know what project I was on. He's like, "Oh, you're on that one." I was like, "Yeah."
Instead of a Zamboni, he's just driving his motorcycle in. That's got a keg of Diet Coke in the back.
Right. I only get the. Oh my god, it has been so hot here recently, and I know that's been there too.
How's it going?
So, we finally this week have gotten some sporadic rain, which has cooled it down a bit. It makes it more humid, of course, but the rain's at least cooled it down a little bit. This weekend was just sweltering, and I think I told you last week we went to go play paintball on Saturday.
Oh yeah, how'd that go?
Me and some old boys. We are not as young as we used to be, and it was like 100 million degrees outside.
Surprised you didn't have issues with the balls.
Yeah, no. It was field paint like most fields are these days. That's the only way those guys can make money.
yeah, they might stick to your leg in those conditions.
They definitely did.
Spatula
those
time. Balls.
Yeah, it's spatula weather. No, so this place that we went to is kind of close to one of my buddies, and it's kind of close to apparently where some of the other guys are, but it's like an hour plus away from here. It's like the opposite end of the Metroplex for me, and the paint was dimply and whatever. It was field paint, but the bigger problem was my gear. So
how did it fare of years of no usage?
Yeah, so I knew I had to buy another tank because they weren't going to fill my tank.
Sure.
Because it was out of hydro. So I bought another tank, which was fixed output, 800 psi.
Mm-hmm.
My old tank was an old school HPA tank with an adjustable reg on it, and I had converted my pump to low pressure a long time ago. That's the way I used to like to run it. And as soon as I screwed it in, it just with CO2 when I was testing it beforehand. And I knew CO2 is higher output than a normal reg HPA tank. So I was like, okay, hopefully that's it. Yeah, I got there, filled up my tank. It was just straight venting out, just too much for my regulator. But fortunately, I kept that autococker we talked about. And shockingly, the autococker of all damn things would work. Now, admittedly, the only reason it worked is because it has a built-in reg that was ready for 800 PSI.
Sure.
So, but my 4-way did have a little bit of a pinhole leak, so I ran out of air a lot, which wouldn't be that big of a deal because, I mean, they quit charging per fill a long time ago, so it doesn't matter.
Well, why don't you throw some Flex Seal on that?
Yeah, I could have. But, so the problem was this place that we went to, which none of us had been before, is, it had to have been 3/4 of a mile back to the staging area where the air was.
Oh, shit.
So, kit it out and hike it back and forth and push 100-degree actual temperature was
that's asking to die.
Horrific. So beforehand I actually thought I had a brain and brain. So on Friday night I went and bought a case of water and a little case of little shorty Gatorades and 10 pounds of ice and filled up an igloo, right?
Yeah.
And just had that in my trunk, which wasn't too far. It was around the corner from the staging area. I drank almost that case of water and didn't pee but once. And that was when I first got there. We were sweating balls off. It was very warm. But that said, we had a blast. It was a lot of fun. I sat out, I think, 2 games out of the dozen that we played. And I didn't feel bad about it at all. I'm just like, I'm not playing this one. I need to sit here in the shade for a minute, man.
Was it all speedball?
No, I think we played about half speedball, and most of the other half was in this one particular field that was kind of like World War I style trench warfare. It was pretty brutal, but it was half wooded and half just hard pack clay, and it was like white, like super bright, so like the sun was reflected off of it. So you're just blinded half the time. And
your goggles aren't tinted?
No, so that's the thing is I actually thought about buying it. Said, all right, so my 2 things I had to buy was tank, and the other thing was my goggles because my lenses it was broken. Those are toast. So I bought another mask, which is kind of like the updated version of the one that I had.
Yeah.
And I thought about buying another pair of lenses too, just to because of that reason, and didn't because it was like this damn lens is like $50. They're freaking expensive. And after buying an $80 mask, I'm like, okay, I'll be okay with clear lenses. Yeah, I should have bought the other lenses, but
when I bought mine, I mean, we're talking 20 years ago. I bought tinted, and it was they were air gapped, so no fog.
You got to have thermal lenses.
So it was nice. So I mean, I still remember freaking kids out there with 9-volt batteries, and they would change out the 9-volt battery every game. Yeah. I'm like, dude, you're carrying like my watermelon head is already big enough. That's adding like 3 more pounds up there. I'm like,
oh, those guys. So I couldn't find my fan. I used to have a little fan module that fit underneath my visor. But those 9-volt batteries would last you forever, even constantly running. Those things don't run out.
These were janked. These were like janked, and these guys running like 3 fans, big fat guys. But no, I'm asking about woods ball versus speedball because, dude, you don't move in speedball, you're gonna get tagged.
Oh yeah.
So speedball is just a lot of fucking running.
It is.
So
it's fun, but it's a lot of running. Oh, I did have a fun equipment fail too. Like on my second game, I got out on the speedball field that we were playing at. In my old pack, I've had an old 3-pod pack that I've been running forever. It's great. It's real wide Velcro that goes around your midsection. It fits nice and snug, but not uncomfortable at all. And I've used it since the late '90s, kind of thing. And I got out there, and about halfway through the game, all of a sudden it felt like my pants fell to my knees. I was like, oh shit, this. Shit. And I backed up a little bit and got shot. And looked around, and it wasn't my pants. The elastic had dry rotted in this pack. So the pack just basically fell off, and it was around the back of my knees. So they waddled off the field, It was really funny.
I think back more than 20 years ago when I first got into it, we were in high school.
Yeah, me too.
And I actually, those packs weren't as popular.
No.
Right.
Mm-mm.
And the ones that were popular were just like a single tube here or there, and they weren't many for bigger guys. So
Yeah, most of them were just like a belt too, right?
a
Like
belt, right,
yeah.
right. So, dude, so I had, I think it was like RPG Pig or something like that.
Yeah.
They wanted like
WGP, right?
WGP something.
Yeah.
They wanted like, I don't even remember, like $120 for a pack that held, because what I wanted was to get my CO2 off of my gun.
Yes.
I had
you want a remote.
I wanted a remote, right?
Yeah.
But again, to do that back then, you had to have a pack. So I didn't have $120 to spend on just the pack, right?
Yeah.
So what I ended up doing is I had this old case that was for like a CD player, and it fit perfectly with a 20-ouncer CO2 in the middle and 2 ball fills on each side. So I cut holes on the top of the padded case, and everything just fit in there. And then it would just basically close over. Dude, that shit was great because it used to be a strap. So what I ended up doing was I took a belt and wrapped it all around, right? Well, that lasted for like 2 games because me running would just, go flying off.
Yeah.
So then I bought a back saver, the thing that you, like when you're picking heavy stuff up, like a back brace.
Yeah.
Like
like
a, just a foamy one.
Like a weight belt kind of thing.
Yeah. But the one that's got the straps that come up here.
Like suspender style.
Suspender, right. And then you just, pull one this way and wrap it around this way, right?
Right.
And that allows you to flex. And I sewed it to the back of it. Dude, I made my own freaking remote pack and everything. It was great. And then, then 2-3 years later, the other ones became more common. And that's when I went to one that had a big enough slot for HPA in the center, with good straps, and then 3-and-3 ball holders.
Yeah.
So I had 3-and-3, and it was great. So.
Just like a tank. Just nasty.
It was. That's what the thing. I wasn't running. I'm not gonna fucking run. I'm just gonna walk and just it's like that dude on those bank robbers, with the fucking machine guns coming out of the bank. They're just like just freaking laying down fire
with a minigun, right?
With a minigun.
Yeah. So that was entertaining. We had a great time. Drank a crap ton of water. My watch was freaking out that it was so hot and my heart rate was up, and I was like, "Are you going to die?" It's okay.
That's funny.
No, it was good. So to your point, I never really got into running a remote. I've tried it. I used a buddy's for a little while. The one nice thing, obviously, is it's vertical, right? So you didn't have to worry about having a siphon tube or anything like that. You just had an anti-siphon tube, rather, because it's just gravity is going to take care of all the CO2 liquid right down low. That part was nice, but I got into buying when they came out the 16-ounce stubbies, the real short pineapple shaped tanks. Love those little things. That's what I ran because it let me get real tight. And it wasn't too heavy. It was, and if nothing else, it balanced out the rest of the way of the gun. Because I did find that was one of the things I didn't really care for, is it made the gun too light without a tank on it. Like it felt a little unbalanced to me. And that's fine if you had a good stock, which I had a stock too. But
yeah, that's true. See, what I liked about running remote is I could bring the gun all the way up to my face, and I don't have a small face, so with a tank.
Yeah.
It's hard with the remote. I could get right behind the gun.
Right.
So I could be right behind the gun, not have to hold it sideways or anything like that, and just kind of hide my face behind it. Where with the tank, you're kind of like more off to the side.
A little bit.
But
if you're running a sniper or an autococker that has the back block that's coming right at your face anyway, you had to stay a little bit far back anyway, and my drop forwards are always way forward anyway, right? So a buddy of mine always used to call it T-Rex hands, because you have to play kind of like that when you get it up tight. That said, when they brought out the HPA the I was at 45 cubic inch HPA tanks. Those were too small. I didn't like those didn't work. I always liked the 68s. The HPAs were too, the 48s, 47s or whatever were too small. At least with the dropped Ford the way I normally had my other one. What's up, everybody? Do you have any gold bond foo?
I do.
That'll fix that.
I mean, yeah, I guess. So I think the gold bond is more for when I'm going out and I'm wearing clothes. You know, like when I went to work, like this morning, I got lucky. I didn't sweat too hard just going from coffee place to the office.
Yeah.
Because I pretty much stayed in the whole day. I went outside. I had 5 guys delivered to the office because I was not brave enough to walk out at
Go back out.
like 108 in Times Square today. I think that's how high I got. So I walked from the office to the subway, minimal sweating. I'm like, wow. The AC is so nice at work, by the way. The
Blast.
new office I'm working in. Oh.
Yeah.
But then I went, me and my sister, we go, we live like literally 1 mile from the water.
Mm-hmm.
So we usually walk down to the water and chill, but it was really fucking hot.
What water?
The East River.
East River? Okay. That's what I assumed. All right.
So yeah, it's a pretty nice straight shot. Like it's a quiet avenue right by me. You just take that all the way down.
How's the power at y'all's locations? You know, I gotta say, man, it must be nice being in a state where shit gets knocked down every 12 to 15 years and then everything gets built back up because
that's the problem. Nothing's been built back up here.
Yeah.
It's like, how the fuck are we going to switch to electric cars when we can't meet regular demand?
I can tell you, could you imagine if the heat...
What the fuck am I paying for, New York? Fuck your state taxes.
Took shit down over here, or the salt water, or I get it, we don't get cold, but for long periods of time. But dude, we've had frosts. Sure. We've had very cold temperatures for, in the 30s and lower, So at no point in time were they like, oh, hey, don't turn your heaters on. Because here's the problem. Fucking Florida is going to be all goddamn grid heaters. We got heat pumps and that can do, but when the houses aren't insulated like they are up north, when it gets down to fucking 30, your shit is going, your grid heaters are coming on to keep your house,
Not even that, but it's the fact that our lows have been shitty. Like our low tonight is 77. Last night, we've been having like summer Dubai nights where literally like last night, I think it was like 11:30. I check the weather. 92 degrees out last night.
I was gonna say still 90
PM.
I mean, that's typical here. I mean, you've seen the pictures that I've put when I've been in my garage with my mini split and what it is outside.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's 98 degrees and it's around 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. Oh, let's check the humidity. Oh, it's at fucking 89%. Okay.
Spatula weather.
Well, yeah. Well, I think too, what really screws up, because we were talking about PNW, and how they don't have any ACs over there. Well, that'll really fuck a network up, because when you're not used to that load of people going out and buying ACs and putting them in, that's instant, addition to the grid that they're not accounting for. And shit's fucking 6 years old. So it's fucking melting.
Right.
I mean, somebody posted what was it? Was it the electric car or the whatever it was that they posted an image of, this is what the heat is doing to our equipment, and the wire just looked fucking melted. I think Colin posted that. It was a cable car company or something like that, and it was like, this is what the heat is doing to our equipment.
I remember the summer 2009, I think. I was interning at the newspaper in Queens. One of the stories I got to follow Con Ed around for half a day. The energy company here. Yeah. And I basically, that summer fucking sucked weather-wise. Like we had so many like blue balling days of it being muggy, and then no rain, or like halfway piss rain. It makes it feel worse. Yeah. That summer was incredibly indicative of that. The weather sucked. I was broke. I was working a fucking internship for credit. Sucked. Anyway, so during that summer, like those dudes are going down in the manhole. They can only be down there for like 90 seconds or 2 minutes at a time because they're wearing a thick ass suit to insulate them from heat, but it only holds up for so long because underneath the street, it gets to be like 200-300 degrees.
Holy shit.
It's fucking dumb. Because, yeah, between all the fucking ground heat plus all the equipment running, like that shit is dumb.
Well, yeah.
I didn't realize it got that hot under the streets there. Holy
Well,
shit.
and they get, they have all the fucking, all the power wiring and all of the transformers underground. So those fucking transformers are generating some serious heat. You know, here they're just above ground, and
I call them the trash cans on the pole. That's because that's what they look like.
pretty
Yeah,
much.
they do.
Yeah.
They look like trash cans. And they're just
Well, I mean,
full of, they are
and-
trash cans just full of copper, right?
Yeah, I mean, in our neighborhood, you know, they're not underground; they're on the ground.
Yeah.
Because you know, wiring is underground, but the transformers are all above ground. Because you know, you saw my picture of the Florida basement.
Isn't that pretty common though? Because all the transformers are above ground in my neighborhood as well.
You mean
like
an
every
underground?
neighborhood.
You mean an underground basement?
Yeah,
Well,
underground
yeah,
basement.
and see, I mean, I guess more of in neighborhoods like ours, which are newer. I guess the older stuff, like you know, major cities. I guess it was easier, you know,
To bury
better
them?
for them to put them on to put them underground. Yeah.
I gotcha.
So
Festy, Festy, were you at a goth bar? What year was that? Lint brushes and white makeup and what was the fucking Mike Gundy thing I'd sent you? He was talking about running into goths at the cemetery. You remember?
I don't remember that. You said it to me?
I sent it to you. I showed it to you. We were talking about Mike Gundy and how he's just one of like the funniest meanderers ever. Because he was talking about running into goths at the cemetery. He's like, but these weren't like, mind you, this guy is a college football coach.
Yeah.
And he's saying this during a pregame like interview on ESPN. He's like, yeah, but he's like, these weren't like regular goths. These were like, you know, grown-ups. You know, they didn't like have to be in school or anywhere. You know, I saw them and they just kind of gave me this old like gothy frowny look. And I just said, you know, good day. And you know them, they're all about, you know, like rocks and spider webs. And if anyone wants to find it, go look up Mike Leach goths. There's one Twitter post where the guy, literally one guy posted, he recorded his TV because he recognized what gold that was. You know what? I'll do you the favor and I will post it.
You'll go find it. I'm sure.
What, what's into Plisdom 21 saying, I work in water treatment. There was a widespread shortage on media tanks after that deep freeze in the South this winter. Media tanks, huh? I wonder if he's talking about like tanks to put shit in. We shall see. I guess they come from Texas.
Maybe. We have all sorts of media down here.
Oh, media. I wonder if it's like where they're processing water, like charcoal media, or like membranes.
May have. Well, I know they've got, and the Discord guys were having fun with the ERCOT dumbasses down here that are having a couple weeks ago that were talking about asking everybody to turn their AC units up a little bit because there's some power shortage or something.
Yeah,
I never saw any of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's because Facebook.
Yeah. No,
that's turn that shit off. Turn that shit off. They're like, nope, we're keeping it on.
Gotta have that. My there's people like just neighborhoods over kind of thing that have more issues because they've got, I don't know what the hell's up with the whole decentralized power delivery company thing and how that all works here, because some places you can pick your power company and some places you're kind of locked in. Yeah. It's all weird down here.
Can we just have like one power company that doesn't suck ass?
That's what the ERCOT is a conglomeration of all of them, right? But the guys that do mine is like a co-op. It's like a small co-op thing, and they're freaking great. They've been so bulletproof over the years. And I guarantee you it's not the same grid as Facebook's using.
What was it? Actually, I think tonight is today's the last day of the heat wave, quote unquote. 'Cause it's actually raining right now.
Yeah. I'm supposed to get some tonight too.
I saw some lightning when I was closing my windows. So,
Have you seen Florida? It's all green,
Yeah.
and we have fucking storms threatening us already.
like,
That's what
it's
I
a
heard.
high of 81 tomorrow. You know how happy that makes me?
we're in the cone of shit.
The season
Dude.
already.
81. Here are the highs for the next 3 days. 81, 75, 67.
Ooh.
Bro,
Nice.
I am so hard at 67 degrees.
67 is that's a good high. I like that. That's good.
Yeah, we're in the cone for this storm that's got a 90% chance of starting shit.
Man.
And then Tuesday it goes back.
It does seem like it's not the right time yet. Seems early.
I mean, shit, it's early as fuck, but
Yeah.
you know, the name is Elsa, so who knows?
We're getting more inch and a half of rain tomorrow.
The name's Elsa. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if it becomes hurricane, it would be called Elsa.
So they're
Gotta
gonna
love
be
it.
cue all
fucking
the
raped by
Let
it.
It Go themes or memes gonna go around.
Yeah, get blasted by a Disney princess. Guess there's worse ways of dying, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd say that's about the worst.
She's gonna be singing the whole time. Ugh.
Let it blow. Let it blow.
Right?
Roll your shit down.
We're getting the weather we've had for the last 3 weeks. Well, good. Thanks for sending it on.
But yeah, because of this weather and such, like I kind of, bro, even the mustache was too much for this heat. It was too much.
Yeah.
My upper lip is already sweaty. Yeah, I think we're due for a chop tomorrow. I'm just gonna be stubbly all summer. Fuck it.
Ooh, hold on. Did you see that link that Addie just posted? A ban on the sales of flavored tobacco products, e-liquid, in San Francisco's raised combustible cigarette use. Shocker.
No.
You don't say.
You don't say. And it's
Hey,
the
it's not like
NIH,
it's not like I can go and buy a fucking pack of menthols if I wanted to.
right? That's an interesting link, Gotti. I'll have to read that in more detail later. That's cool. Cherokee said people in California were told to not charge their electric vehicles.
Yeah. I saw that.
Rip in peace.
Well, I saw that there was 100. They opened up a new battery plant, not a battery creating plant, but a plant that replaced a gas plant called the peaker plant, and the peaker plants are basically used only at peak demand powers. So they're using 142 Tesla megapacks to power what used to be this, fuel burning generator plant.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's like 100 kW plant or some crazy shit.
Just to round
So-
out the peaks.
Yep.
That's interesting.
Yep. So, yeah. The TVA, not Loki's TVA, but the Tennessee Valley Authority has a really cool way of when they have peaks of usage and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They literally have a lake on top of a mountain. It's called Raccoon Mountain.
Okay.
And they dug a hole down the mountain and put generators down at the bottom.
Yeah.
And when they need to fill up peak power, they basically let the water flow down
Yeah.
and turns the turbines, and there's your power. Then when the peak is gone and electricity is at its lowest cost, they pump the fucking water back up to the lake
Yeah.
from the Tennessee River.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Dude, the magic
And
of
obviously-
freaking kinetic energy, dude. That's awesome.
I know. And obviously, rain and stuff like that fill this lake back
Sure.
up, but it's a huge fucking reservoir on top of a mountain. And then you have the Tennessee River down below, and it exits right there. I've been there, and it's crazy. It's awesome how they do that. So But yeah, so they it's literally a battery.
Yeah.
That is a battery.
Yeah,
That's
it's energy storage, just energy storage as mass.
Yep.
That's
Energy
elevated.
storage when needed. Now, of course, they will also make extra when the rainy season comes, and
just go ahead and pull that out.
Just keep it at a certain level, let it flow out. But
I'm trying to remember who told me that the first, and it probably was you, and it was probably on the show at some point a while back. I think it's really, really cool. I'd forgotten where it was though.
Yeah. So they've replaced this whole plant with batteries. So that's what they're doing pretty much. Is at peak times they can offload, and obviously it's a lot better to, people who are, I don't know if anybody in chat is in the lineman business or the electrical grid business, but it's amazing how much people don't know about our current grid system. You can't just fucking let it turn off. You can't.
Right.
When that happens, you're going to be 2 to 3 days without power because you have to go little by little turning everything back on. Which
is the problem here, right? When those coupled power plants went down here, that's why it was such a big freaking deal, and all the rolling things for days afterwards, because they had to slowly turn everything back on slow.
Yep.
Did you see what Fessy put in chat? He said Todd said today that they were outlawing glass tanks, and he wasn't sure if it was EU or UK, but that's, I mean, from the country where you just about have to have a license to have a knife, pocket knife on you.
I'd rather have no glass tanks than have flavored juice.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what?
I'm just saying for silly rules.
What? They can still hold that shit over our head. At the end of the day.
All day long. That's true. That's true. They don't have the tobacco lobbies we have over here.
I get it's a dumb law, but it's survivable.
Right. Completely agree. Especially for me, because I don't use.
That's hate to look. That's hate to look at it.
Right.
Once they went after the Nick, we all knew we could go.
Yeah. It is funny. Quad said that Canada's putting a cap of 20 milligrams of Nick as of the 23rd. 20 milligrams of Nick's fine. That's a lot of Nick.
Exhale's 35.
But if you only had 20, you'd probably be okay.
I would be fine.
Yeah. It's still, I don't care who you, if your name's not if you're not from Oklahoma and your name's not Flitz, thanks. I was like, what that his name just went out of my brain. Your name's not Flitz, you'll probably be all right. Or who else was it that had like crazy ass Nick levels? Was it Dimitri? No, it was Alex. Right?
Oh, Alex. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Alex was a 12 guy, 12 or 18. I know Dimitri was 12 for a while.
I think it was Alex. That I remembered him talking about spiking his e-liquids because he couldn't find anything over 12.
Oh, it was a particular vendor, I think, that didn't offer anything over 12, right? Yeah.
Cherokee's saying
Us.
there are 7,200 18650 batteries in a Tesla. Actually, the Model 3s are all 2170 batteries. That's their newest. I mean, they have a new style cells, and they have the Model 3 has almost 3,000 of those batteries in it. So because they're bigger, so the density pack.
Cherokee was saying that Tesla's going with a new battery chemistry, and they're breaking away from Panasonic, which I didn't know.
Yeah, I saw something about how.
Oh, Addie said that too.
Yeah, I don't. My brain's not working.
Festi, you don't need to join a support group because you make your own e-liquid. So you're fine. But we had multiple people complain to us that we didn't have 12 plus. But what are you gonna do?
You know what I tell those people? Go get me a pack of smokes from the gas station.
Yeah. It's truth. Oh man, now I'm over here looking at that paintball packs. I don't need to be doing this right now. Oh my god. Some of these are very expensive. Dude, I don't want a 4 or 5. I just want like a 3. It comes from those games that even with a pump, if you're on speedball, like Masty said, you're moving and shooting a lot, and sometimes you just need an extra pot or two. That's all there's to it. In fact, I had to call myself out in one of the games we played because I was out of paint.
Ew.
It's because my package just died, so I had left it on the sidelines or whatever, and I didn't fill up my hopper before I went out there. And like halfway through the game, I was like, "Wow, fuck."
You should have picked up some ones that didn't pop and just throw them. You were thrown during a game. I did I haven't been paintballing too many times, but like the last time I went, which was like early high school, I remember like the hopper that I had broke.
Yeah.
Like it wouldn't stay shut. So I was like, when I'd run, sometimes balls would bounce out. And I just pick them up and start throwing at people. Like fucking Danny Trejo and Desperado, he's throwing knives in the middle of a gunfight.
Yeah. This is a little vest.
Yep. He was nice for like 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Yeah. Speaking of whom, I just saw a blurb the other day that he was on like a Bear Grylls show.
Yes, I heard something about that too.
Which I find extremely humorous. I'm sure that was awesome. I haven't seen it, but it looks great. Festy, that is not a stupid question. A lot of people, they call, well, the same people that would call the e-liquid, they would call that oils. The reason people say that, or at least part of the reason, is way back in the day when paintball started, it started with tiny little pistols with little 12-gram CO2 cartridges that they used to mark trees. For like forestry people would mark trees with them, and it was red oil-based paint. But when they started shooting each other with them for sport, they moved over. The formulation is it's water soluble, and almost all of it will come out of your clothes almost all the time. You might every now and then, it depends on the brand, but every now and then you'll get one that'll stain. But it's pretty rare. If you take your stuff home and wash them, it comes right out. If you get some on your hands or whatever, it definitely comes right off. It's all water soluble these days, and has been since the 90s. I think in the early 90s, like the first time I went and played, maybe they were still formulating the stuff in there or whatever, but it was much more stainy back then. It wasn't oil, but it was still very stainy. But towards the end of the 90s, when I was in high school and stuff, it was fine. The interesting thing about them is to me anyway, the interesting thing about them is the shells and how interesting they are. And the tech has changed over the years. And I went through multiple different, just like vaping, right? And there's all these like small companies trying things that are different. There were some back in the day that were using different kinds of starches and that kind of thing to see if they could get it to break more easily on the target, but not in your gun. And some of them toy with the thicknesses of the walls, and not just the materials, but the thicknesses. And it's been round and round and round, and it's really weird too, because even back then, it's all 68 caliber, but it all varies pretty significantly. And if you buy good paint, it's relatively consistently the same size, even if it's slightly small or slightly big, which is why you have. I'm sure it's still this case now. It used to be back in the day. I've still got one of my old barrels that have, shotguns have chokes you can put in. They've got the same idea for paintball barrels. So like the threaded portion on the back will have a sleeve that's a specific diameter, plus or minus, a couple thou, and it's made to have a good fit in your barrel, but not too tight. Because if it's too loose, obviously it'll roll out, and obviously you won't get the acceleration on the barrel because the expanding gas behind it won't push it fast enough. La 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 la. But there's been all sorts of gimmicky things that have come through the paintball community for sure.
I remember I was walking with a friend once, and I slipped on ice
Mm-hmm.
and broke my fall. Flat on my hand, my knuckles cracked, and he thought I broke something. Fuck! I'm like, what?
What?
Because like basically, when I broke my fall, like my fingers flexed just enough, and literally all 4 of these knuckles cracked.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I couldn't reproduce it. It just had,
Right.
weight and force and whatever. But
Well,
yeah,
of course not. You can't ever reproduce a knuckle crack immediately, right? You can't. Most of the time, you can't sit there.
well,
and
no, not
practice
even
a
that,
knuckle.
but just the way, just getting all 4 of them at once, like in that way, because I never do it that way.
Right.
I wouldn't know how to do it. I do one, and I get the upper. My middle one doesn't always like to crack. It's a little stubborn.
Yeah. It is funny because I was talking to somebody just recently about which ones pop, and this guy I was talking to, he pops this knuckle on his finger, the first knuckle.
Yeah,
which
first.
that doesn't pop for me like at all.
That pops from not all. Like I said, the top one, my middle one doesn't always. But
Yeah. But then there's I mean, and I think some of this is physiology, but like we were also talking about how much you can bend your fingers backwards, and I don't know about you, but my index finger on both hands like is a much more hard stop. The other ones will flex back until you don't want to pull it anymore, but the index like stops, like it's like there's a physical.
it has to do with the nerves and muscles.
Yeah.
It's related to why. It's like an old thing I learned playing guitar, which is to put your hand flat on the table, right?
Yeah. Try to raise your fingers.
Lift each finger,
Yeah.
and you realize that your ring finger is the weakest one because it's tied to this.
Tied to your
nerve.
pinky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what the deal is with the index and middle fingers, but I would imagine something else is afoot.
Similar.
Something
Yeah.
similar is afoot.
Cherokee, that has been done as well. But the problem ends up being a couple of different things with dimples on paintballs. That was cost more than anything, and consistent product. It's much more expensive to do it that way. I always liked what was the one that I used to play with back in the day, back when you could pick. It was Marbleizers. Marbleizers were fantastic. They were a really, really good balance between brittleness and breaking on target versus being consistent on your gun. Fantastic. And the paint, the fill was bright green, so it was really easy to tell when you got somebody. Very difficult to wipe off.
Did you hear that thunder?
Yeah, I did actually.
My sister messaged me. She's like, "Did you hear that?" And I'm like, "No, I haven't heard shit." Oh, never mind.
Oh, there it is. And you said she's near you, right?
Mm-hmm. But also at the same time, I may have missed some because I have the AC going and I have headphones in.
Yeah.
But you can feel it. But no, I'm happy it's raining because enough already.
Oh, I'm gonna share my screen real quick so everybody can see what Marble is. I love the way they look too. It has such a cool look. Green and black. Yeah, there you go. There's a good pic. Oh, I don't want to advertise. Just want to show you the little marblies. And the neat part about it is that green part is not green. That green part's actually clear. That's the paint inside. I always thought that was cool. Just shining through. It's basically black.
How cruel would that be if you put marbles in your pop?
You could probably kill somebody. Because I mean, a paintball is not much off in weight from a marble.
Bro, did you see that flash?
I did, yeah.
Wait for it. That's just getting closer, eh?
Yeah, it is. That was
Good.
sounded like about a second difference, maybe a second and a half. So if you got one that was the right size diameter to accelerate, I mean, you're talking about 280, 300 FPS. That's That's plenty fast enough to kill somebody. Catch him in the head anyway. Oh.
300 feet per second.
Mm-hmm.
I know 60 miles an hour is about 86 feet per second. That's always like that one reference from physics I'll always remember.
I don't remember that one, but I believe you.
Yeah, I think 60 miles an hour is 86 feet per second. Check me on that.
Google is saying you are correct. 88 feet per second. So 300 is 204 miles an hour.
All right, don't do that, anybody.
Yeah, don't do that. That's what I mean.
Unless you want to shoot up, you want to shoot up a car dealership and break all the windows. Sure. Yeah, no, Cherokee. There were kids who did that on Halloween in high school. That's fucked.
I'm trying to think. Given its constituent parts, I don't even know if freezing the paintballs would work really well unless you got it really cold. Because I bet it's not. I mean, it's clearly it's not just water, so I don't know what it's in there.
Well, not even that, but just the fact that it's still going to harden a decent amount.
Maybe
sitting
but
in the freezer, right?
I'm just saying I don't even know if it's going to work because as it gets colder, whatever it is, if it swells at all, that means it's going to crack the shell, which means it won't work in the gun.
Jam.
And B, even if it doesn't, I bet it gets more brittle, which means it will break in your gun, even while you're shooting it, probably. So I don't know. I'm not sure. I've never tried it. I guess I've never been that much of a dick.
I just know that was a thing to do when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Because kids would also freeze eggs.
Sure. Yeah. It's like killing somebody with an ice bullet, right? As it melts.
Yeah. Dude, we were walking to it was like the fucking worst. It was like, I remember my senior year of high school, I didn't really go to many parties in high school, but this Halloween party senior year, we wanted to go to it. None of us had a ride.
Mm-hmm.
It was just the most unfortunate night. We had to walk a decent distance to get there. We walked with eggs in case, and they got used. Yeah,
they did not go to waste.
we were walking. We had to walk through the fucking war zone in the neighborhood.
Yeah, and
we got shot at. I think I got tagged a couple times in the back. I landed an egg in someone's window. Like, it was amazing. It was like a turnaround, like sidearm fling. It was beautiful.
You'd have a hard time with ball bearings, Tim, because of the weight, right?
Yeah, they're heavy.
Yeah, a ball bearing, the 68 caliber ball bearing, it would be quite heavy. It probably wouldn't be unless you tinkered with your pressures quite a bit.
That one sounded like the sky parted.
It did. I was actually going to ask about that one.
There's another.
But plastic balls, absolutely. I mean, that's pretty much all a paintball is. Except for it's a frangible one.
I should hop in from my phone and go out on the patio. Or the balcony.
Do it.
Herb.
Do it.
Is it going to kick me out of here if I do that? It might.
We'll see.
No, it should keep both. It should keep both because I did that while I was in the garage.
Aluminium. There you go, Tim. If you used an aluminum ball bearing, so to speak. Sure. Again, not recommended. You could kill somebody. Please don't do that. So somebody asked earlier about like football shaped. They did do those. In fact, I think that they didn't do it for commercial use because, for recreational use because of you'd have to load each one like by breech. But I'm pretty sure they did do some of those, and they were using them for something sciencey, and I don't remember what it was, but I do remember seeing a video where they were using them, and apparently it was an incremental increase in accuracy, but not by a lot. If you get good round paint, it's pretty good, and it depends on what you're shooting it out of and how you're shooting and stuff. But there was just like in every sort of sport, car racing to even vaping, there's all these like urban legend science, like science that this surely works better because I've got this random reference.
Blurry.
Oh, it is blurry. Why is it so blurry?
you have the blur app turned on your phone, so it's blurring everything because it doesn't see your face.
Oh yeah.
You need to turn the blur app on the Zoom background.
Right. I'm like, I couldn't hear you because it's the rain so fucking hard.
And Master, you're right too, because every now and then it would be like a little section of the screen would be sharp, and then it would go blurry.
Yeah.
Anyway, what I was talking about. So one of the old kind of premium companies that were making paintball guns and barrels and that kind of thing was Palmer, and they used all brass stuff, and even the things that they had nickel plated on the outside.
There we are.
Oh yeah, look at that. Nice and damp.
That'll cool things off.
For sure. For sure. It looks nice and cool, like temperature cool out there.
I can't hear anything you're saying right now. I should have put some headphones on, but whatever.
Oh, so but what we're saying is that they insisted on all of their barrels being brass because in their opinion, brass was the most lubricitous metal to use for paint. Like it would be the slickest inside of the barrel surface to use that was cost effective. So all of their shit was brass, and I had a few of their guns. Their guns were really good. I always liked them, and I was always reticent to give the credit to the barrel being brass. I think it was mostly just their guns were really well made.
A lot of the 2-piece and 3-piece barrels that had the Teflon coating inside were great too.
I bet that was I think that's what it wasn't Teflon. It was I think it was ceramic. I had one of my old barrels ceramic. Was a carbon fiber. So the front, like 3/4 of the barrel was carbon fiber, so it was light as shit, but the inside was all ceramic. Mm-hmm. So the back end was stainless, and then carbon fiber on 3/4 of it, and that thing was so light, and it's still my favorite barrel. I still use it all the time. Who knows? I have no idea what the brand was at this point, but it was a great barrel. Oh, Massey, were you here? Did you hear what I said about the brass?
About it being lubricous?
Yeah, you being slick. Yeah, That's what they always said in Cherokee, is it's self-lubricating is what they always call the brass. I don't know. Yeah. All I know is their shit worked really well, and if it was brass, maybe. All I know is their stuff worked really well. I actually really regret selling some of their guns. They had a couple of really, really good ones that I liked.
Yeah.
Mass, did you have to deal with the office outage today?
Nope. Didn't affect us.
We had an Outlook issue.
Is that right? Like Office 365 or whatever?
Yeah, people's inboxes were blank.
Ooh, neat.
We had like multiple server issues today, so I don't know if it was Microsoft related or not, because we had like some of our footage servers were fucked up. I don't know, but it was nice because I wasn't doing tickets today.
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm over at the office. I just spent the day blasting PCs. It was great. Watched Law & Order on the iPad and just chilled. Because I'm an old woman.
Lubricitous is a fantastic word, isn't it?
Lubricitous.
Yeah, like oil, the oil bushings, right? Oil, what do they call it? Oil wet bushings. I'm missing a word in there. Like oil impregnated brass, right? For bushings. You can definitely do that. For sure. The other thing that was popular in paintball that it was the first time I'd ever heard the word Delrin was way back in the day, and they always talked about it being self-lubricating, and we used it in like bolts and stuff, moving parts inside. Yep, it's great, and it worked really, really well, because back before that it was cheaper
aluminum.
Shit. Yeah, it was either aluminum or it was cheaper plastics. Yeah, that did not work as well. Delrin was a big. The other thing, the other big woo-woo science thing was the Venturi effect inside of bolts for.
That's right.
Stealing the tech from carburetors and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Speaking of carburetors, holy shit! Did you see the the Smarter Everyday video. I think it was today or yesterday.
No.
Dude, okay, so Destin made you guys don't, surely everybody knows what Smarter Everyday is. The YouTube channel is fantastic. If you don't know what it is, it's especially
you mean your related cousin, because
Yeah.
he's got to
Yeah.
be related to you somehow.
It probably is.
I'm pretty sure. I think you might want to do.
Hit my mind across my mind.
Never really. You need to do genealogy thing, because I'm telling you that your mannerisms and his and the way that you guys talk, it's like you guys are definitely in some kind of timeline together.
Some sort of second cousin or something. Wait, before you go, I gotta say that Destin did a clear, functioning carburetor. It's transparent. You can watch it function as a carburetor, and it's strapped to a small engine. It was the coolest shit, Master. You have got to go watch it. You're gonna love it.
Yeah,
it's so cool. What I had never like visually seen how a carb works. I mean, I knew functionally how they work and what the job that they did, but I've never seen it happen. And it is the venturi of it sucking a droplet, like a little column of gas going, and then when the engine pulls it and it atomizes into it, it is the coolest shit. Anybody who's any sort of a mech head is gonna absolutely freak out. Okay, sorry. I just had to get that out. Sorry, Foo. Please go ahead.
No, it's fine. What the fuck was I talking about?
About me being related to Destin.
Yeah, there he is.
Right. So there was
there's the
actually
link.
My boss at Enjoy had very similar mannerisms to you, funnily enough, Mike. So I was like, I was having dinner with him on the road one week, and I'm just like I had dinner with him. I'm like, holy shit, he reminds me of Angsty. Yeah, like he reminds me of Angsty. Like they had to have been roommates at some point.
You need to take this guy and put a hat on like Angsty. There you go. And the way he talks and the mannerisms, they're definitely related.
Well, he's still got that Alabama twang, though.
Yeah, well.
He's got dimples for days.
Yeah, it's true. I think if you don't know Smart Everyday, definitely go watch his shit, because he's been on the YouTube forever and he's got so much content out there. But the thing that it's impossible to not like about the guy is he's technically minded, right? He's like a mechanical engineer, I think by education, but he's smart enough, and he's at that level of smart where he can explain it to somebody who's not technical, which is a fantastic gift. It's a really good mark of a really good teacher. But not only that, he's at that level of smart, but he's also himself, truly to the deepest part of him, excited to learn about cool new shit. And it just comes across in the screen. It's so genuine, that excitement about knowledge gathering. To me, it's just so cool. It's cool to see somebody that's good at it.
I did something good like that today at work. Someone was trying to explain to me, because I'm like, you're both tech guys, and you understand that when you take work, our network, and we're trying to access it from somewhere not there, right? Basically what it is we plug all our shit into their switch, and it goes from their switch to our switch, which is like more or less VPN to our network, right? That's my situation at work right now. So with that come issues, right? Like adding a computer to the domain. Sometimes it won't hit the domain. It won't like contact the domain controller whatsoever. It'll say access denied, and I got to do it like 100 times. Somebody couldn't grasp why I was having issues with the network. And they're like, isn't it working just like it is at the broadcast center? And I'm like, no. Right. So I basically made a mistake at first saying, oh, we're hooked into their switches, and then they're to our switches, which is VP. This person doesn't understand that. And they're like, I don't get it. I'm like, so we're running a really long internet extension cord from here to the broadcast center, and everyone's stepping all over it.
That's a good metaphor. I like it.
That was good.
You should have said a hose.
Yeah. Or a tube.
Yeah.
Series of tubes.
Extension cable was on the tip of my tongue. I had one in my hands. So, yeah. But yeah, that shit is annoying, though.
Yeah.
Like, oh, why am I not done with this laptop? I've been trying to get it on the domain for the last 20 minutes, and it's not working. That shit pisses me off.
Yeah. Well, there's
Like,
that type of person, right, that doesn't know and they don't care to know. It's frustrating trying to explain something to somebody who doesn't know and doesn't care.
But it also makes you sharper.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because that's a lot of my job is making complicated things sound less complicated.
You all right?
or like,
Ah.
or like,
Yeah, I just put my phone down.
or like why someone has the two-factor authentication on another browser, and I tell them that's because that browser does not know you.
But I'm right.
Google
in front of
Chrome, Google Chrome asks you once a day, but Internet Explorer don't know you.
it. No, from
You know?
nobody. Hey, Robert Riggin. He's in the process of making ButcherBox countertops with a herringbone. Woo. Way to go. I hope you're
Very
making
nice.
it in grain. Just to make it hard on yourself. I mean, you can make me why don't you make me a cutting board there, Rob? How's that? My parents got me a cutting board a while back. It's a very nice hardwood cutting board made by a friend of theirs, kind of thing, right? But I don't use it very often, and the reason the reason is I've got a relatively inexpensive bamboo one that's probably, I don't know, 18 inches by 10 or something. It's big. It's a larger cutting board, but it's not huge. But it's a larger cutting board. But the thing is, I have never ever, and it's a bamboo one, I've never ever once had a problem with that thing developing any sort of cracks, developing any sort of warpage, anything like that. That thing has been like an end-cut maple thing forever. Like it works so freaking well. And the one that they got me, which was very, very nice, has, even though I take care of my shit, it's got a couple hairline cracks in it. And it's got a couple hairline cracks in it from warps and stuff, right? Even though I always wash and I always dry it and set it up to be dried and that kind of thing, it's been a little bit of a problem. So I keep going back to this, $40, larger bamboo one forever because it just works.
I don't use wood.
What's that?
I wasn't raised in a house that used wood cutting boards, so it just never became a thing for me. Like I still use plastic.
You use plastic ones? I don't like them when they warp. They drive me crazy.
I never had one that really warped. I just had one that just got worn from like 10, 12 years of use. I don't know, because I know my brother uses a wooden one, but he has like a plastic sheet he puts on top of it or a thing. There's like, I don't know. It's weird. I don't know.
I always find it interesting when you see there's a bunch of sciences around the fact that wood ones are actually cleaner than plastic ones, which I find fascinating. It's got to do with the fibers of the wood actually encapsulate things and take them away from the surface better than plastic ones. Plastic ones tend to just hold on to shit.
Well, yeah, because they're not porous.
Right. And you would think that would be worse, right? You'd think it would be better for plastic, but it's not. The only thing that plastic is really good at is if you need to sanitize it, you throw it in the dishwasher, right? And that sanitizes the shit out of it. Now, I do still have plastic ones. I've got one bigger one that I bought at a restaurant supply store years ago that's red, and the only thing that goes on it is raw meat.
Yeah, just like meat and vegetables. That's all I really like use on a cutting board.
Yeah.
And even then, when was the last time I actually had to cut chicken? Because I don't have to really do anything to my chicken thighs. It's great.
You don't have to trim them at all?
Not really. I get them from Costco. They're great.
I always trim my chicken thighs. I love them, but I usually trim them.
I mean, a little bit, but for the most part, I do very little. I might make slits in them if I'm baking them, shit like that.
Yeah.
But
I do, Rob. I've got a couple of different ButcherBox oils that I use. One of them is a mineral oil based. The other one is a beeswax and mineral oil and something else. I forget what it is, but it's great. I use it on all my stuff, including my knife handles and my cutting boards and all that sort of stuff. But the only one that's ever given me trouble is the really nice expensive one. The cheaper ones work great. Speaking of treating wooden implements in the kitchen, I've been using Spurtle. About a year ago or something like that, I found a Spurtle. Have you seen these things, Foo?
isn't that like a Pokemon?
Yeah, you think. Hold on, I gotta pull up a link for you because these things are they're dope. I think you're gonna like them. There's a bunch of knockoff ones. I need to find the real deal, and I'm of course on Amazon, like 90% of them are all knockoffs. crap. Now I can't find it.
Spodal.
Yeah, Spurtle. Need to
Is that
find it.
a spoon crossed with a turtle?
Yeah, basically. Is a spoon crossed with a spatula, I think is the idea.
Mm.
Yeah. If you search on Amazon for it, you'll find a bunch of them. But they're really, really nice. But I've found that at least the original set that I've got, it took a little doing to get to start getting the mineral oil penetrating into them, because I think for whatever reason the wood resisted it at first. It probably has some poly on it or something.
Oh, you know what the Borg say?
What did the Borg say? The Semlate?
Well, resistance is futile.
Resistance is futile, indeed.
I think that's a big part of my motivation to finally watch Voyager through, because I've never really watched it. I've just watched bits and just loose episodes
For Voyager?
But,
Yeah.
yeah, but there's a lot of Borg shit in Voyager, and I'm kind of like,
Yeah. Well, you got old 7 to 9, right?
mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if she was brown, she'd be 7 of 11.
Yes, you would. That's a fantastic way to end this show, I think.
I can live with that. Actually, I have to make an emergency work call. So
I'm sorry. It's after hours, man.
no, it's fine. It's going to be a 5-minute call.
Okay. Good.
I don't care.
Well, everybody, thanks very much for coming and hanging out with us this week on the Plumes of Hazard. Next week, next week. Oh, it's not. For whatever reason, I was like, it's the 4th of July, but no, that's a couple of days before that.
That's Sunday.
That's Sunday. All right, everybody. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for hanging out. You guys have a great week. We'll see you next week. Deuces.